So let's get into our buy or sell, and let's lead off with our first candidate. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. from the Arizona Diamondbacks, an outfielder. He is currently playing in the World Series as of this episode being out. Lyle, are you buying and selling the eventual free agency of Lourdes Gurriel Jr.?
Can you buy and sell?
I did also have an asterisk too, but I'd like to hear what you think.
Okay. Well, you said buy and sell, so I was like, well, that would be a tough thing.
Sorry, buy or sell.
There we go. I am buying. However, with the idea that he is about the third bat you'd bring in free agency in terms of impact. If Lourdes Gurriel is a guy you bring in free agency after a couple of marquee blue chip names, yeah, great. This is a guy that's been above average as a hitter each of the last 4 seasons. He's played some good defense this year. The Mariners need outfield bats. As we currently sit, the Mariners have one proven outfield bat. It's Julio. So they have spots to fill. So Lourdes Gurriel would absolutely help. Again, with the idea that he would be the third or so guy that you bring in free agency. If that's the barometer, yeah, buy.
That's funny. That's exactly what I wrote. Third signing. Mm-hmm. Like, exactly what I said. The thing I think about when I look at Lourdes Gurriel Jr., he looks like bat-wise and overall production-wise, he looks exactly like some players the Mariners already have on their roster. Like I was thinking about it, he's, about a 2-win player. How many at their peak or like at an average season production, give or take the year 2024, how many 2-win players do the Mariners have on their roster? I mean, I can think of a few, and it feels like if you're just adding onto that pile, how much does that move the needle?
Right. So if he was essentially going to replace Teoscar, they were about equal WAR players if you look at Teo's 2023 and Lourdes Gurriel's 2023. So moving the needle, probably not that much. But again, if you bring in some true impact guys ahead of him, great. Here's what he's done at the plate in the last 4 years. So in 2020, which was a shortened year, of course, he put up a 134 WRC+. The 3 full seasons since, he's gone 107 in 2021, 115 in 2022, and 106 in 2023. That's not a guy where you say, look at the headline move we made this winter. We brought in Lourdes Gurriel. No, but if you say, we got Shohei Ohtani, and then we traded for another bat on the market and also brought in Lourdes Gurriel, then people would say, okay, this is a guy that could hit around the 6 or 7 spot in the lineup and provide some true value. And that's what I think his value brings, and that's what I mean by buy. If that's his role, yeah, I'm buying.
So just to clarify, my buy was as a third bat as well. When I look at him, I don't think he would be a bat people would be extremely confident in could translate to T-Mobile Park. He doesn't hit the ball the hardest. His batted ball numbers really like barrel percentage, exit velocity, hard hit rate is a little bit higher, but his average exit velocity, his expected batting and slugging, his quality of contact are right around league average. That doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. And he also doesn't walk a lot. He does not strike out, which is a positive. But when we're talking about a mix of soft contact and not a whole lot of reaching base on a free pass, some people might be like, well, that kind of sounds like Colt Wong a little bit with maybe a slightly better exit velocity profile. So it's, at the very least, he plays awesome defense in the outfield. And you would think that you're getting a very, very good defensive outfielder as well, which adds on to a lot of his value. Spotrac, if you're listening to their prediction for what they think he'll get, they think he's going to get 5 years for $73.4 million, which is an AAV of $14.6 million. I don't think I'd be signing him to a 5-year deal if I'm Jerry.
I was going to say 5 years. That sounds like a lot. I would go with 3. Maybe you could argue 4. 5 sounds like a lot for Lourdes Gurriel.
If it's 5, I'm selling.
Yeah, same. Now, if it's 3, I'm buying. And especially because he can play some solid defense. And especially because, okay, so you look at his strikeout to walk numbers like you just referenced, right? He looks like, in terms of those two categories, he looks like a former teammate of his and maybe future teammate in Dom Canzone, who we've highlighted, where we say, yeah, he doesn't strike out that much, which is great, but he also doesn't really walk, which is kind of an interesting profile. But you know what? The Mariners need to cut down on strikeouts. So if Lourdes Gurriel is going to come in here and he's not going to strike out, then sure. And again, with a 3-year deal, yeah.
Does he have the Mariners' philosophy of power, really, though? Because he's a dead pull power hitter. He hasn't been that much of a power guy in his career. His best power season was in the juiced ball season of 2019. Outside of that, it's about average. And when you take average power and you put it in T-Mobile Park, it usually turns into below average power. And then how valuable is your bat?
When you see Teoscar Hernandez have his issues here, who hit the ball as hard as anybody in baseball, or just about, yeah, it does. Look, we're going to have trust issues with anybody the Mariners bring in here on forward, because if Teoscar Hernandez's profile can't beat T-Mobile Park, it's going to be hard to say that anybody you bring in of this caliber has a profile where you're confident. Yeah, Lourdes Gurriel has his flaws. There's a reason he's not getting some mega deal in free agency. But we also know this free agent class is not stacked in terms of bats, and you're going to have to pick somebody because you need offensive improvements. So when you get past, of course, Shohei and even some of the other names, the Bellingers, the Matt Chapman, some of those guys, it becomes players like Lourdes Gurriel. So you have to do something. And if you're going to look to find some improvements, is Lourdes going to put up 5 wins? No. Is he going to hit 35, 40 home runs? No way. But I don't know. Could he hit 17 to 18 in a Mariners season? I feel like he could.
The other thing about this is if you do sign him, he's starting. He's definitely starting in the outfield, and that leaves one of Dom and Jared out of luck and out of a spot to play in if they're not DHing that day. I don't know which one it would be. They would have to sign it in this case, but I'm just mentioning that like one of those guys would not be playing every day. If Lourdes was signed, this is a guy who you would play every day. You'd want good. You'd probably hit him towards the top of the lineup. I don't know which spot in the top, but he would be hitting towards the top of the lineup, and he'd be playing in left field every single day and probably playing pretty good defense. You're not going to keep him out of the lineup.
No, he'd be playing defense every day. I don't know if he hits toward the top of the lineup. Again, in my world of vision, he'd hit toward the 6 or 7 spot, just because if you already have JP and Julio at 1 and 2, and then we're fantasizing the idea of bringing in 2 better bats ahead of him, I feel like that pushes him down. So I feel like that 6 or 7 spot would be about ideal for him. But yeah, he'll play the field every day. He'll probably play left field.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Okay, so in summary, we would buy a 3-year contract with him as the third signing. We're selling if he's getting the Spotrac projection, 5 years, $73 million at an average of a little under $15 million. It's a little high. I was honestly kind of surprised. And if he gets that money, good for him, man. He's earned it.
Jung-Hoo Lee or Lourdes Gurriel?
Lourdes Gurriel.
Agreed. I mean, he's a proven big league talent. So same here.
Yeah, that's not a tough decision.